Well, we were on the Western Front, and somehow we made it off. So here we are to talk about it.
Here
to
we
tell
are.
the tale.
I would have missed this movie if it weren't for I try to keep up with the trailers. The trailer really blew me away. I never would have guessed it was a Netflix production. At the very end, they throw up the Netflix little
Logo.
the logo animation. It's easily the most impressive Netflix production that I've seen. Another really good one was The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the Coen Brothers movie, where it's like a collection of short stories. But the scale of this movie was really impressive. I don't know when Netflix stepped in, if it was already in production and Netflix bought it, or if this was Netflix from the beginning. But either way, kind of an impressive production for them. Did you see 1917, World War I movie a couple years ago?
I still haven't, no.
It was good. But we'll get into it with these characters in this movie. It was a step up from the 1917 characters, but they both kind of have a character development situation. Mm-hmm. So in the book, they spend a good deal of time in boot camp, and in the first film, they also spend some time in boot camp. So you get some more of that character development.
I think my favorite part for how this movie felt compared to other war movies, because there wasn't that much background, it was easier to like put myself in his shoes. There was just a little bit of like his parents didn't want him to be there and he came anyway because he had to prove that he could. But just, the immersiveness of the actual war scenes and the feeling that they brought through, like that these guys were feeling in all these different situations, came through really strong for me. But I agree, there wasn't much character development at all. They just throw you right in it.
Pretty much. I agree with that, though. I think that could have been purposeful, because now I'm seeing a trend with Dunkirk was purposely, Christopher Nolan has said it was purposely made that way. He didn't want you to be becoming attached over the course of the movie with anybody in particular. He wanted it to be almost like nameless faces that you're following, and he was going for immersion in that way. 1917 did this a bit too. I only saw that once in theaters. It was great.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, scene by scene, just like the situation that they're in, watching them go through it, trudge through these trenches, and march to gain several meters in a battle, and not even sure like how they end. Like, it was hard understanding when one battle was over, like how do they all of a sudden get back? There were some things cut that I wasn't sure about.
I think there were some things cut. You got that feeling too?
Yeah.
Maybe it was the flow getting cut down. Maybe it was time, money. I don't know. The opening sequence too, you get an idea. You know what they're going into, which was smart. They could have started it right with Paul and his buddies meeting up to go get enlisted. Mm-hmm. But they have that opening. It's short. It's a couple minutes long. But you basically see, I think his name was Emmanuel. I had never seen that before, with the whole idea of the soldiers were more expendable than the clothes.
They were peeling the boots and the jackets off of these soldiers and just piling them up and then redistributing them to new soldiers. That was a wild aspect of this one.
And they lied, too. I thought that was purposeful, where when he's given the clothes, he's walking away and he sees the tag with the name on it, so he brings it back. And the guy says, oh, they were probably too small. That happens all the time. And rips it off, and you see him drop it to the ground where a bunch of others are laying. They do a short bit after we see Paul's, basically, like his first 24 hours on the front line. We cut to the politicians. And I thought that was... It kind of made the movie for me, cutting to these bureaucrats who are running the show, having this... every scene, basically, with them, they show a little bit of this, like... whether they kind of look bored, they look tired. The main guy here, played by Daniel Bruhl, the character is Matthias Erzberger. He was a real guy. And all of this story is fairly accurate, except for the Treaty of Versailles was after the war had been concluded, So the treaty that they're talking about in this movie wasn't formed at this point in time. Besides his character, the rest of them seem like this, like they're running like a tire shop or something, you know? There's just
yes.
something mundane about it, which is unsettling. And contrasting this with the horror that just happened with Paul, he loses his first friend. He'll lose them all over the course of the film, but he just lost his first. I don't know. I thought the contrast of the two was brilliant. Also, the cleanliness of it all. Like, it's all just so clean and crisp, and the doors are thick, and the tables are carved, and the chairs and the cushions and their clothing, the food, the tea. It's just all so comfortable and above it. They're just so above it all, and it's really unsettling. I don't know when that became normal, because I know we're coming off of House of the Dragon. It was common for royalty to fight. Our government used to be led by all veterans, all of them. They all fought in something, and now it's really rare. There are a few politicians who are veterans.
Oh yeah, there's definitely more honor in that for sure.
Yeah, it's a good word for it. Yeah, honor. Yeah.
Why don't presidents fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? System of a Down.
There you go. Classic. The Daniel Bruhl character, he's from, you remember him from Inglourious Bastards. He's the German officer.
So which character was he in this one?
So he was the politician who was fighting for the armistice.
Okay, yeah, like the only one who seemed to have any decency in the group of, uppers.
Yep, yeah. He mentions his son had been killed in the war.
Yes.
So that's how the movie frames him. The real life man, Matthias Erzberger, was a writer who became a politician. He first supported the war with, quote, nationalistic fervor. He wanted the reclaiming of annexed territories of Belgium and Lorraine, France. The idea that made me think this would be worth reviewing was, we talked about House of the Dragon. We thought it would be neat for them to show more of the lower class people going to work in King's Landing or like Flea Bottom or
the Masons.
The Masons.
Fixing the bridge after those goddamn dragons are always stomping all over the place.
They could do a whole episode on that for sure. It would be really interesting to see, just the daily life of a Westeros civilian for a lot of reasons. One of them being that it would connect our feelings of what choices the royalty is making with the suffering of the people. And that's what this movie, I think, does amazingly well. The front lines here, the Western Front, the movie says 3 million people died there. I saw it was 4 million, so it could be upwards of 4 million. But 17 million dead in World War I. 17 million people.
Jesus.
Yep. So, totally. So would you give it a recommendation? Thumbs up there?
I would definitely say if you're into war movies, this is an excellent war movie. In the genre, it's one of the most memorable to me, I think. I'm pretty sure I'll remember this one for years, certain scenes. I've heard my grandfather talk about World War I so much. He was just into it. He was at the end of World War II, but he was really into that time period, and he would just talk about it all the time, and these trench warfare and the tanks and everything, and just seeing it in this like really realistic take on it from like felt like an individual perspective, very immersive. I felt like I was in that trench or experiencing it with them, and it was horrible. Definitely feelsy kind of war movie that is not gonna end happily.
Can't say that. Yeah, I agree totally with that. It's one of the best war movies I've seen. It did very well things we have seen before. We've seen really well done large scale battles, and I thought maybe we would just be getting some of those. We got those, but we got a lot more than that, and we got something unique with the dynamic between these politicians and the soldiers going on with this subplot and main plot. Definitely worth watching. It's harsh. It's harsh.
Yeah,
sure.
not for kids either. I would
Yeah.
say this is like
No.
for an adult mind.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, World War One wraps up soon. I heard they're working on it. So end of the movie, they were working on it. So actually, the fighting went on for a whole month after this moment in time.
My God.
The movie depicted it really dramatically, where it was literally like a clock striking noon, but it lingered on for a whole month. So,
Brutal.
anyways, yeah. That and last thing, that last fight that they depicted, 40,000 people died. 40,000 people
Damn.
died. Also, one other thing I really didn't like was the synth sound. I thought the music mostly was amazing, awesome score, and then it had this deep synth sound.
Oh, see, I liked that.
It was dramatic, but they should have done it with cellos. It would have been way more dramatic and time appropriate.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Just get like a quartet of cellos next time, and not that synth sound. Every time I heard it, I thought, A, that sounds cool, but B, World War One though, I don't know.
It was just intense. But yeah, I can see if they were hitting those same notes with the cellos, it would have been definitely more time appropriate.
Yeah. We would have got that oomphy dread sound, because it was dreadful, that sound.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit too modern. But I mean, that's about it. I don't know. I don't have much else to say other than those things. All in all, I thought it was.
Yeah, no, don't watch it if you don't want to have like a war movie experience. But if that's what you're into, this is a good one.
Or watch it if you don't want to have a war experience, because maybe you're the type that needs a war experience.
Ooh.
But we're living on. It's 2022. We have a lot to learn from the past. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back soon. What are we going to watch next? Maybe some Graham Hancock. Maybe some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. X-Men. I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, all good options.
We'll see.
I don't even need to watch Ninja Turtles again, dude. I could just tell you every scene right now.
You could. I believe it.
But yeah, I'm watching Graham Hancock. We should catch up on that soon.
Yeah, I'll get on that actually. I'll probably get into that, and because you're a ways into it, so I'll try and catch up. But that looks fun. It'll be a little more lighthearted than this one, for sure.
Hell yeah.
All right, bye everybody.
And until next time, use your head.